Hello everybody, how are you doing today? Well, today is an exciting day, of course, because I've made it a month at Swift. That's it. That's the exciting news. So I thought I'd come back and do a 30-day review on Swift. Why not? A lot of people have been very curious, I guess, and a lot of people work at Swift also, so we'll see how this lines up with your experience and all that stuff. So with that said, I want to be clear. Overall, I enjoy working here. Why is my phone ringing? Stop it. Overall, I enjoy working here. And anything in this video is not meant, if there's anything negative, it's not meant to like bash the company or anything like that. It's constructive criticism from a 10-year veteran of trucking that maybe sees things a little different or doesn't understand Swift's point of view necessarily. So there might be some things that I don't necessarily understand or agree with or something like that, and I'll give my reasons, and that's all there is to it. So we'll go through all I actually took notes for this video, which I hardly ever do, but I took notes for this one. And first and foremost, the most important note, I feel like kind of a dick, because over time people have given me the super thanks feature on YouTube here, where you can send a couple dollars if you like the video, and I never acknowledge those people in videos when they send them. So I've started doing that because it's your hard-earned money that you're sending me. So I want to just acknowledge one real quick. Dreamer Seat on the last video sent $2 super thanks because she really enjoyed the video, and that is very cool. So I wanted to make sure I'm acknowledging those and telling you guys that I appreciate it, because I understand everybody's having a hard time out there, and to send me a few dollars of your hard-earned money is very cool of you guys to do. So I appreciate that, Dreamer Seat. Thank you so much, and let's get in to my 1-month review at Swift Transportation. So the first thing, it's been, yeah, exactly a month to the day today since I picked up this truck, and I've put on between 10 and 11,000 miles on the truck, which we know could be better, but that's okay. Some of that's my fault, and I wouldn't say the rest is Swift's fault. It's just sometimes there feels like there's a little too much time on a load, but that's not really a huge deal. That's kind of beneficial for running your clock. But I took 3 days off. My first week was kind of slow while I got my bearings. So between 10 and 11,000 miles, I don't have the exact mileage. Not the worst thing ever. Not a bad month for a first month. So that's, I guess, one of the important parts. So I feel a little out of my element because I never take notes on videos, and I feel like I'm being told what to do, and you guys know how I hate that. So I got just a few notes here that I wanted to talk about. So one of the coolest things I think here at Swift is when I came here, I know I made a lot of jokes about how everyone's an owner-operator if they're not a company driver, and I'll continue to make those jokes, but that's what they call you. If you're doing their lease program or whatever, you're an owner-operator in Swift's eyes, right? And I think that's actually pretty cool, because they, for the most part, do treat you like a true owner-operator. There's no micromanaging. I don't know if they call me or not to ask me if I'm on time with the load, if I'm being honest with you, because I stopped answering my phone a while ago. I don't know who's calling. I don't know that number, and I stopped answering. But I don't get messages asking where I'm at and what I'm doing and when I'm going to be there and when am I getting up and all this nonsense. For the most part, they really just leave me alone. They either assign me a load or I pick off the load board, whichever one happens, and I go mind my business, and that's that. I might be getting a little bit out of order with my notes. I'm not even sure if I took a note on this, if I'm being honest. But there are a lot of ways to keep your truck running, and they're very, very easy things to do. First of all, you do have the load board, which I'll talk a little about later in this video, but I think next video I'll go more in depth. Which the notes I have for the load board is it could be better, right? But that's okay. It just came out. It could be better. It needs more loads on it. And that's kind of the state of the load board right now. So far, I've managed to dispatch myself twice off the load board for a total of just at 3,000 miles. So 3,000 of the miles I dispatched myself. It could be better, but hopefully it gets there, right? That's what we're all hoping for, is that it gets better and there's more and more loads on it as we go. We do know that the freight market is kind of shitty right now, so that could be contributing to it. But other than that, it's really easy to work with the load planners for whatever region you're in. If you finished a load or you're getting ready to finish a load, however you want to do it, they actually have a macro that you can send directly to a load planner. And I watch the Swift live streams that they do and listen to what they're saying. And they said in this live stream that their planners are actually graded on how efficient they are at responding to these messages with a good message, a message that actually means something, not just hollow words about, oh, we're working on it. They are required to respond fairly quickly to drivers sending them a message. So it's pretty cool. You can get straight to a load planner and say, hey, I'm done with this load, or I'm going to be done with this load by this time. I'm looking for the next thing. And it's super easy to contact a load planner directly. And I think that's one of the coolest things here. And I haven't spent a whole lot of time sitting. I did a 34 a couple days ago. There's some circumstances leading up to that, but we'll talk about that later because it goes hand in hand with like their payroll and things like that, which we'll talk about. Terminals. Oh yeah, fucking terminals. You know what's a great thing about Swift is that if you're ever worried about a place to park for the night, they might have a terminal. As a matter of fact, they probably have a terminal in the state you're in. If you're going to park in like a major city, Atlanta, there's a terminal, right? Denver, there's a terminal. Seattle, there's a terminal. My God, Dallas, there's a terminal, right? And this is all really nice. This is all really fucking nice. Because if you're going into those big cities, and there's more, there's terminals everywhere, guys. They're everywhere. If you're going into these cities and you're not sure where you're going to park, the terminal, guys, is a fucking option, or it should be. There's a slight problem with the terminals that I want to talk about. But it's nice because obviously the terminals, you've got your showers there, in theory, parking. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Laundry, they got food in there, like that you can buy, obviously. But it's some options for some food and drinks, and some of them, I don't know which ones yet, have gyms in them. I started in Greer, and that one had a gym. I've been to the Atlanta terminal, but just briefly. I didn't look around to see if they had a gym, but it was a pretty good sized terminal. They might. I've been to Denver, did not find a gym there. I've been to Portland, which seems to be under some sort of remodel. So I don't know if they had a gym or plan to have a gym, but right now you're just kind of forced into this little room upstairs in the Portland terminal. Seattle, I did not go inside, so I don't really know, but some have gyms. I'd like to know which ones. I don't know if they can tell me. Maybe Swift, if you're watching, maybe let me know. Actually, Swift did leave a comment on one of my videos, so they did. So I do know someone there watches, which is cool. And I want to say, Swift, if I'm getting something wrong or I'm not understanding something, you are welcome to comment, clarifying what I'm saying, and addressing it. And I'll even pin that just in case I'm giving out what could be not false information, but wrong information. But the bad thing with terminals, guys, is they are packed full of fucking trailers. Now, like I said, I watched one of the Swift live streams, and they talked about all the extra trailers they have from when the freight market was just booming, and now obviously that freight market slowed down for everyone, and they had said they plan to sell a lot of trailers. There's just not the need for all these trailers, and they're Swift, right? When we get back into a hot market, the trailer manufacturers are going to be falling all over themselves to get Swift's business. So it's not like if they sell the trailers, oh God, they'll never be able to replace them or anything like that. And yeah, they need to fucking do that. Get these trailers down to Ritchie Brothers or whatever the fuck it is you need to do. Because parking at every terminal I've been to so far, except Atlanta. Atlanta had a ton of parking. And when I got there, you had fucking 300 goddamn spots to choose from. But every other terminal I've been to is packed full of trailers. I don't know if they're loaded, empty, but everybody's like just making up spots to park, and the terminals get really, really crowded. And the parking situation at the terminals I've been to has been really bad. Denver sucked, Portland sucked, Seattle sucked. Greer was, you know, not horrible. There were a few spots there, and like I said, Atlanta had fucking parking spots for days. But yeah, if they're planning to actually get rid of some trailers to make room at the terminals, now's the time. Now's the time to get that done. You really need to do that. So that's what I got to say on terminals. It's nice that they're everywhere. It sucks that they're packed full of trailers, because you can't really park very well there. You just got to make shit up. I talked about the load board already. Let's see. I want to talk about how professional everyone has been at Swift so far. I think it's really cool. Everybody's really polite if you need to call them. I am having sort of an issue with one department. That's another point I'm going to talk about soon. But when you call someone, you need something. The shop people, I stopped in the Greer shop when I first started. I needed one of their locks they give you, and I needed another key made for the truck. And everybody was really polite, really friendly, and everybody knows what their job is for the most part. And Swift is just like this well-oiled machine that everybody knows their place, knows what their job is, and you have so many ways to reach out to people and get things figured out, which is pretty cool. Now, obviously, I've been a trucker for 10 years. I don't need to make a whole lot of phone calls. Give me the fucking load and leave me alone for the most part, but sometimes you need something, and everybody's really professional. There's ways to reach out to the right people for whatever issue you have, and that is sort of a reflection on the trucking industry as a whole, because it used to be kind of a shitty industry to work in as far as people were concerned, which it still can be sometimes. You guys know I did that video on, I went to Swift orientation something like 20 years ago. A lot of people are giving me shit about that now, going, you didn't like the experience and now you're at Swift. Yeah, and I can say I only showed up at the orientation for a day. I didn't like the attitudes of the fucking guys that picked us up from the bus station. They were really shitty. This was 20 years ago. 20 years ago. The industry as a whole has become more modern, where people treat people with respect instead of act like assholes all the time. And hey, my opinion of Swift 20 years ago when they showed up at orientation, I'm glad I didn't let that affect my opinion now, and what am I trying to say? I'm glad I didn't let that affect my opinion now, and then make my decision on if I was going to work here or not based on that, because they didn't treat me like that coming in this time. You'd have to watch the video. It was 20 years ago. The world was a different place, and I'm glad that they don't act like that anymore. Okay? Now, one thing I want to talk about here, this next thing I want to talk about, Swift, I'm going to need your help here. Either this is the way it is, or I'm misunderstanding is what I meant to say. And if I'm misunderstanding, Swift or Swift drivers in the comments, feel free to correct me, because I want to be misunderstanding about this. I want to be fucking wrong about the next point I'm going to talk about. And if I'm right, then something in my opinion needs to be fixed. Actually, I'm writing down another note because there is something else I want to talk about that has more to do with company drivers, and I don't want to forget it. But I'm going to talk about now payroll. Payroll. We've got a problem, or I'm dumb and I'm not understanding. I'm sorry. I just woke up from a nap. That's why I keep stumbling over my words. The video's got to go out, but I took a nap because I actually ran overnight. Because of either my lack of understanding of this payroll system or the complete shit show that the payroll system is, one or the other. So, if you guys remember, I was about 2 weeks into Swift, and I was laughing in a video because I was like, I have no fucking clue when I get paid. And I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, I should have figured this out. And I could see what my settlements were supposed to be, but I'm like, where's the money? And I happened to call them on a Monday morning, the time I took time off, right? On a Monday morning, I called payroll and I said, hey, stupid question, but when do I get paid? And they said, oh, you get paid on Mondays. As a matter of fact, we have already deposited your money. And I said, deposited it where? Well, they hadn't got apparently my direct deposit information yet, and they had deposited it on a fuel card, which luckily, my fuel card, not just a random fuel card, my fuel card, which was a pain in the ass to get the money because I had to go get cash. I needed the money right then. I didn't have time to do the transfer from the fuel card to my bank account thing. I needed the money that day because it'd been a while since I'd had a check, right? And so I asked them that day, what is the pay period? Because that's useful information. On that day, here's the information I was given. Your payroll ends at the end of Thursday, and you will be paid Monday. All right, that's what I was told on that phone call. So I said, okay, that works. Now, the next week, I didn't make any money. This is a lease program. I took 3 days off, and then I didn't get a whole lot of miles. Sometimes in a lease, you break even, or sometimes you go even a little bit negative. So the next week, I didn't make any money. Okay, cool. Then I ran about 1,600 miles in total along the West Coast. I was up in Seattle, and I got on the load board, and I was curious if there was anything. And sure enough, there was a 1,400-mile load going to Denver that I believe I could have delivered, going to Colorado, not quite Denver, but I believe I could have delivered Wednesday, but I had till Thursday. So I decided to take it kind of easy on that load, get some more hours back, right? Keep running, because I'm not a huge fan of doing resets if I don't have to. And I would get that load there first thing Thursday morning, which was pretty nice because I went by the house. I stopped and I stayed the night at the house, saw the wife, saw the kids, all that. Really nice. Got up early in the morning, got in the truck, drove my chubby old ass over to my delivery. Thursday morning, bright and early, made the delivery. Now, here's where the confusion comes in. Here's what I'm not getting. I thought I just set myself up on a 3,000-mile week, right? 1,600 plus 1,400, 3,000. Fuck yeah, banger of a week. You'll take 3,000, obviously. I was excited. Well, the next day I got up, you can look at your settlement kind of as they update in real time, and I noticed I only had the 1,600 miles on what they were calling a completed settlement, and the 1,400 to finish out my 3,000 had went on to a new pending settlement. Okay, you can imagine my confusion. I was told on the phone that by the end of Thursday, that's what I get paid for. Why the fuck is this on a whole different settlement? That's only a 1,600-mile week now, with fuel, with fixed cost, all those things. I made $136 that week. Okay, Swift, we've got a problem here. So I called the payroll department, and I said, hey, I am apparently misunderstanding how payroll works. When do the pay periods end? And here's what I was told on the phone the second time. The girl on the phone said, we guarantee you everything up until Tuesday. We guarantee that will be paid out on your next check. She said, you might get stuff from Wednesday, you might get stuff from Thursday, but we guarantee everything up until Tuesday. So I said, so is there no clearly defined ending to the pay period? And she goes, guaranteed up until Tuesday. You might get other stuff after that. So here's the problem. I thought I set myself up on a 3,000-mile week, and I didn't do so because I didn't make the guaranteed cutoff by Tuesday and the maybe guaranteed cutoff of apparently Wednesday or Thursday. Swift, if I'm not understanding this right, please correct me. If I am understanding this right, though, this is bad. In my professional opinion, 10 years as an over-the-road truck driver that has done owner-operator, that has done lease operator on a number of occasions, we need one of two options. And the second option you might provide, but nobody's mentioned it, maybe I should ask. One, the first option is a clearly defined end of the payroll. So we know when to get our miles in, when we need to finish our miles for the week, and it helps us to plan our week when we know the clearly defined way. The other option that I think is possibly an option is after we've made it through our fixed cost, then maybe there's a quick pay option. Every load we do after that, every dollar we earn after that, we could be quick paid out. I don't know, take a 1% charge. That's normal. That's factoring, baby. Well, 1% might be a little low, but we work with you. So take a 1% and quick pay us as we finish out those loads once we passed our fixed cost. Don't know if that's an option. If it is, I'll take advantage of it. But here's the problem, Swift. Let me tell you from my perspective, my point of view. As an owner operator or lease operator, the first goal of every week is for us to outrun our fixed cost. All right, guys, here's what I know about fixed costs so far, where I am in my truck, my payments, all that. Without the fuel surcharge, without including that in, I need a total of 833 miles a week to cover my fixed costs. Not too bad, right? Really, it's not. If you put in the current fuel surcharge on that, actually, I used last week's fuel surcharge. It takes me 603 miles to cover all my fixed costs. Not fucking bad. That's completely reasonable, right? But our first order of business every week, Swift, is to outrun our fixed cost. Once we've done that, we know that we've got fuel costs left, and that's it. The rest is profit. So now that we've done that, we can figure out how to maximize our week, right? How much time we need to use today, how to manage our clock, what loads we might be interested in, all these things that are part of the strategy of being on the owner-operator side. If we don't know when the pay period ends specifically, we are going to fail to plan ourselves and fail to make as much profit as we possibly can for that week. Now, I understand that we do get that money, it just may be the next week. Well, here's what happened. I only took home $136 that week, right? And then that whole 1,400 mile load that rolled over to the next week took a big chunk off the top of that, because of the fixed cost for the next week. And I ended up, well, shit, see, I don't know. I got either 2,600 miles that next week, but I finished a load this morning, which is Wednesday, that would have added another 600 miles to give me 32, but I don't know when the cutoff is. So I either got 2,600 miles or I got 3,200 miles, and all I know is that it's a fucking surprise. And you know what's really bad when we're trying to run a business on this side? I understand trucking companies run on razor thin margins, but our margin as a single truck owner operator, the margin is even thinner. Now we can't even plan our fucking week the right way because we don't know when the week ends. Fix it. I'm serious. I mean, I don't know if you're going to fix it, but we need a clearly defined end of the payroll so we can plan ourselves better, so we can work with the planners better, so we can work with dispatch better, so we can decide if this load we're looking at works for us or not. And now the only thing I can think is there's no way to add finesse and use your brain in this situation. It's just to slam through our 70 hours and hope for the best. And you're taking away our ability to plan ourselves appropriately if we don't know the correct end to the pay period. Please, for the love of God, fix that. It's really, really bad. It's really bad. That's all I'm saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. The last thing I want to talk about, guys, has nothing to do with me, but has more to do with company drivers. But I think that I don't expect a solution to this, not at all. I don't even know how you could come up with a solution to this. My truck almost always idles. I have given the fuck up on the auto start stop or optimized idle or comfort mode or whatever you want to call it, because apparently in the Kenworth it's so goddamn finicky. If anything's just a little bit out of place, it just won't turn on, right? And other than that, optimized idle, auto start stop, all those options is a very hard way to live for a truck driver. Let me explain. So Swift is obviously a big company that is very much interested in fuel savings. Obviously, that makes a lot of fucking sense to me, okay? I understand the APUs are very expensive now, because preferably we'd strap an APU on every truck, right? Used to be, I don't know, APUs were $5,000-$6,000. I don't fucking know for sure. APUs used to be a lot fucking cheaper. And now it's $12,000, $15,000 for an APU, to the point that you probably never even see your return on your fuel savings for strapping an APU on the truck anymore. I didn't do the math on that, so I could be wrong, but it takes a long time to offset the cost of an APU. So a lot of the truck manufacturers, Kenworth, International, Freightliner, probably Peterbilt, it's also under PACCAR with Kenworth, probably all have in some form or another this auto start stop feature that's supposed to keep your batteries charged, keep your heat and AC running and all those things while you sleep, and turn the truck on and off accordingly to keep the batteries running, right? So I do see that Swift sends out the messages that are intended for obviously the company drivers. It has nothing to do with me. But hey guys, make sure you're using your optimized idle. Excuse me, sorry. I'm gonna drink real quick so I can keep talking, not clearing my throat in your fucking ear. But anyways, make sure you're using your optimized idle, because fuel savings and all those things, right? And Swift, I don't expect any reasonable way to fix this. It is what it is. APUs are expensive. APUs break down a lot, which cause people to, be down getting that fixed. And Swift is paying for hotel rooms, all these things. I will give Swift a good note on this. I appreciate that it sounds like for their company drivers, they have not eliminated the idle. They have not put an auto shutdown on these trucks, which is very good for them, because you got truckers out here that are living in hell sometimes because they can't be comfortable in their truck. So it sounds like all the trucks still idle. But this optimized idle auto start stop is a living hell, in my opinion, to truck drivers. Like I said, I don't have to deal with it because I idle my truck if I feel like it. It's my fuel cost, right? But as truckers, we have trained ourselves to know when something's happening around us when we're sleeping, right? Truck starts shaking, somebody might have just hit us. A lot of times these drivers are going to drive off, so we need to get up and we need to get that information, especially if there's not an outward facing camera, and we don't want to get blamed for this. We want to make sure that we're getting the right person, right? For reefer drivers, they have trained themselves to listen to that reefer unit while they're sleeping, right? And hear if it sounds weird or if it turns off and it's not supposed to, and all these things. I've been up many, many nights as a reefer driver going, fuck, what just happened? And this auto start stop does nothing but interrupt a driver's sleep, in my experience. Now, people say you eventually get used to it. Yeah, I've eventually got used to it too. Let me explain for anybody that doesn't know. Like I said, the truck will turn itself on, say if it starts getting too cold or too warm in here and needs the batteries or needs the AC or what have you. And when a big diesel engine starts, it rattles the whole truck. Wakes me up every time. Now, people say you get used to it. You'll get used to it. But yes, about the third day of hardly getting any sleep, you'll crash so fucking hard. Not crash literally, you won't crash the truck, hopefully, but when you go to bed that night, you will be dead to the world. You will pass the fuck out so hard that you won't hear or notice anything around you, and then you kind of repeat that cycle. You get a night of good sleep, and then you get 3 nights of the truck shaking and waking you up and all these things. I don't see a reasonable solution, Swift. I understand. I understand that I think these APU manufacturers have priced themselves straight out the fucking market. You know, they made them so damn expensive, and I don't know the logistics of that. I don't know who made what expensive, chicken or the egg type of thing. I don't fucking know. But it almost doesn't make any sense to put APUs on trucks anymore with the cost of them, with the breakdown time involved in them, the maintenance, you know, the repairs, all that stuff. But optimized idle isn't the way either. Auto start stop, just if you're looking at it purely from a driver perspective, it's a fucking nightmare for the most part. Those are the points I wanted to talk about though, guys. That's my review so far. Overall, a positive experience. The only issue is fix that fucking payroll. That's weird. It's wacky to have payroll set up like that for your owner operators. We don't know what's what now. We don't know how to plan our week the right way. So please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Bye now.